MMA Oddsbreaker, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that is not a caterpillar on Mac Danzig's face. That is Movember in its full extent. It's a little pornish, though. It's a little 1970s porn looking mustache.
This is all I can do, man. This is as good as it gets for me. I can't grow a beard. I would love to have the full Grizzly Adams, but I can't pull that off at all. I was not. God did not give me hair follicles on my jaw, so I got the cop stash.
It looks pretty disturbing. Actually, is what it looks like. It's pretty stinking
I,
disturbing. I gotta
I
be
think
honest.
I think so too. My daughter thinks it's hilarious, so she's the only reason why it's still here. I was halfway thinking if I could get it long enough to kind of do the curly Taft mustache thing, but I don't know if I can last that long. It's every hour is excruciating at this point.
Is there a particular reason why you have it? Was it part of a bet?
I'm
Was it
just
sponsored?
no, I'm just silly. Like other people were doing it for the November thing, the Movember or whatever, and I just figured, why not? I guess it was more out of just me having a silly personality and boredom too. But
It's working. It's working because that takes a lot of time, a lot of energy. You actually got to pay attention. If for me, if like 4 days, I'm like, I got to shave this thing off. I got to get rid of it.
yeah, yeah, I normally can't stand it, and now is no exception. But somehow I've been able to let it go for almost a month now. So there you go.
There it is. Look at it. Look at all of its thickness. All right. Well, let's move on to the more current question. You get ready to battle up with Joe Lauzon coming up on Fox on UFC on Fox number 9, December 14th.
Yeah.
What's your training been like? And it's kind of tough for you because you're coming off of back-to-back losses. That split loss to Gomi, and then you got knocked out by Guillard in the last fight, and now you got Lauzon who's kind of on an upswing as well. How's the training camp been, and what's it been like mentally? Physically, you're always great. What is it like
Yeah.
mentally this time?
Yeah. Anytime you're dealing with a loss, it's rough. It's the lowest low for a fighter, and I wasn't really sure if I was gonna continue with MMA after the last fight. I'll be honest with you,
Oh,
and I just after accepting that and accepting that that might have been my last fight, I ended up just almost having like a rebirth type of thing. Like this is a chance to start something new. You know what I mean? This is a chance to do things a little bit differently and have fun with it finally. So yeah, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. I'm not killing myself in there. If I spar a lot and start taking some shots and it's not meshing with how I feel and it's not bringing me up confidence wise, and I don't do it. I don't. I'm not I'm not putting myself through the ringer. I've been doing that for over a decade now, and I'm done with doing that. I'm gonna go have fun.
Are you still at PKG for most of your training?
Yeah, I'm at PKG right now.
And
Yeah,
how are your training partners taking that? Because they're used to the old Mac Danzig that comes in every day and tries to kill them. And all of a sudden you come in some days you're like, my body hurts, I'm a little sore, I'm backing off.
right, right. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think they're just watching the process unfold. I watched Gray kind of start doing that a few years ago, where he went from being one of those guys who was like 110% all the time, Jim Wars type of guy, to saying, hey, I need to let my body recover. I'm gonna train smart. So that's what I'm trying to do, is just train smart. The only thing about that is you have to more of the mental focus is comes into play. So if it was before like a 70% physical thing and 30% mental, as far as just killing yourself in training goes, and you've got to flip those around. So
Did,
there's a lot of mental concentration involved, and just staying focused. Luckily, I've got Dan Hardy helping me out for this, and he's been really, really good. He's kind of taken a position as coach, and he's stayed out here with me a couple times for this fight, and he's really studying Lauzon, and he's gone above and beyond what I expected, and it's a good change working with him.
You mentioned Gray Maynard a little bit ago. Did you see his last fight against Diaz?
Yeah, I did. You know, a lot of us, man, we take a lot of shots in the practice room for years and years, and I mean, you know, if you look at that fight, I look at that fight like, man, Gray is it doesn't take anything away from him. It's just once the body realizes how to switch off like that, it'll do it consistently. You know, that we watch it happen to all these great fighters. It happened to Liddell, and Vanderlei's still fighting for some reason. You know, and he doesn't have much of a chin left, and it's one of those things, man. I mean, you can lose that ability with all those years of wars in the gym, and that's what happens a lot.
Does Max, or excuse me, does Gray's loss give you pause? Because remember, he's kind of the first guy that said, I'm going to back off a little bit and heal up and train up. Yeah. Or do you think it's just one of those things where he really just waited too long to start backing off, and that's why he's feeling the effects now?
He might have waited too long. If you look at all the guys that I came up with during my stint in Couture's, Tyson Griffin, Jay Haran, Mike Pyle, Gray, myself, like that little core group, at least while I was there for the year and a half I was there, it's kind of one of those things. You leave it all in the gym sometimes, and once your body knows how to shut off like that, there's not a whole lot you can do.
You know, and I said earlier that Lauzon's on kind of an upswing, but both of you have back-to-back losses. Both of you coming off 2 losses. Do you think that whoever loses this is going to get cut by the UFC? Is it one of those situations? Or do you think that depending on who loses, depends on who gets cut?
I think it would probably depend. I'm 99.999% certain that if I don't win this, they'll release me. So as far as he goes, I don't know. He's quite a favorite with the company, and he's you know, as he should be. He's had a lot of really exciting fights, and he's a tough guy. Yeah, I can't speak for him, but I'm fairly certain for me that if I don't come up with a W, it'll be the last one for a while in the UFC.
Well, you said after this last loss that you were contemplating not doing MMA anymore at all. If you get cut by the UFC, now that you have a resurgence in your new ball game, what are you going to do? Like, what was your game plan if you didn't fight after your last loss to Melvin Guillard?
Yeah, the game plan, it's a double-edged sword for me right now, because in a way it's wide open. There's so many different things I can do. I have so many different opportunities to step into other fields of work, and that's great. On paper it looks great because there's so many opportunities. The fact of the matter, though, is not any of them are 100% for certain, and I have to pick one of them when the time comes, and I have to go at it full force. And that's the scary thing, is not knowing which one to go with. You know, there's a whole lot of different things that I can do. I've got a lot of different skills, but it's about believing in one of these things and kind of going after it, and doing a lot of hustling along the way until it builds into something that I can actually sustain myself and my kid on.
Let's talk about Joe real quick. Obviously, everyone's going to say he's most dangerous with his submission game. Do you still feel, with his back against the wall, let's assume that both guys loser leaves town kind of match, do you feel with him being with his back against the wall that his submission game is still his most dangerous? Or do you think it's going to be he's going to switch it up to a stand-up and try and get a decisive KO again?
He hits really hard, especially early on in the fights. That's pretty apparent. He's got knockout power. I don't know. I would expect anything from him, to be honest with you. I'm going in there with an open mind in this fight. It seems to me like he fights for excitement and for bonuses a lot, and you know, if that's the way he comes, I'm prepared for that, and I'm also prepared for him changing things up and trying to be smart and look for slick takedowns and look to try to submit me. But if you look at his style, man, he's just one of those guys. He goes after the finish all the time, no matter what it is. He sometimes in the past he's exhausted himself doing that, but you know, he just goes for it. So I'm just expecting him to go heavy, stand up and on the ground, and you know, we'll see what happens. I'm game though. I'm ready for it. It's gonna be fun.
Well, I'm actually making a part-time move to LA here in about a month. I already have my place out there.
Nice.
I'm just slowly moving stuff out. I have to keep a spot here because my kids are still here in Vegas, and I'll be out
Yeah.
in LA quite a bit, working at the Strong Sports with Willard
Oh, yeah.
downtown. I'm gonna
Nice.
help. I'm gonna start managing that gym. So I'll be in
Oh,
LA quite a bit more and training and what have you. And I've been looking at the LA scene as of late. Like, why is Rain so good down in and Kings are so good and they're down in Orange County, and
yeah.
PKG is not getting enough credit, but they have a really good team and squad there too. And what's the deal? And it's still one of those situations when you're living in LA that unless you're the Lakers, nobody really
Yeah.
cares. It doesn't make a difference what you're doing unless you're Lakers, an A-lister. And right now, everyone cares about Paul Walker because he just passed away. But unless you're an A-lister actor, no one cares about what goes on. Do you get that feeling kind of in LA where you don't like the limelight, you don't like being grabbed onto all the time, and hey Mac, can I get an autograph? So being in LA, does that kind of suit you better? Not just diet, because I know being a vegan's tough living anywhere unless you're in LA,
Right,
but
right.
the rest of the life. Does LA still suit you the way it did when you moved back there a while ago?
I do like the anonymous nature of it, unless you're the big guy, you know what I mean? It's really easy to just go through here and no one will give you a second look. So that helps, but I mean, taking a step away from that in a thought, like as a parent, I don't know if LA is the best place to raise a kid. I mean, obviously, there's there's a lot of negative things. There's a whole lot of positive things too. It's just navigating your child's life through that. Just this, like we do every day. If you're in LA, you've gotta navigate through a bunch of crap, and then you can find paradise. And that's what's so cool about LA is there's something here for everybody. I don't know though. As far as long term in LA, I would like to leave the city so I can raise my kid around, more nature and things like that. I think it's really important
Just
to.
say Santa Cruz. Just say it. Stop screwing
Yeah,
around.
man.
Everybody knows. I mean, it's not a big secret. We all know that you're a big beatnik freaking hippie. Like you're just going to Santa
Yeah,
Cruz. That's
man.
what it is.
Yeah, Santa Cruz would be perfect, and and then hopefully later on the Pacific Northwest somewhere. I was helping Matt Wyman train for a fight he had much earlier in the year, and he's up in Oregon now, and it was great being up there and everything. The rain kind of sucks, but I'll tell you what, like if you're surrounded by nature and things that are benefiting from all that precipitation, it's a lot different than if you're in a city with like dirty streets and cars and buildings and buses and people huddling trying to scramble and get away from the rain. So the rain isn't that depressing to me as long as I'm surrounded by nature.
And that's an interesting concept to look at because every time I go to Seattle, I can't stand it. Like I'm like, this is just
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's not enough sunshine, but I'm downtown. Like I'm running around
Right.
and I'm running
Right.
out of the rain every day. I'm one of those guys that's trying to duck
Yep.
out of the cement and duck out of the water and the mud. And so I guess it would be different if you're out in the middle of nature and hanging out. Like if you're out there from the harsh streets of Westland, Oregon, you're gonna go ahead and be a little bit more understanding of how nature is because you're gonna see
Right.
trees and grass every day. So I can
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Definitely, man.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for coming on to MMA Oddsbreaker. Have fun. I'm trying to get up there still. I haven't quite got my tickets and all my accommodations locked down, but I want to come up there and watch you do some battle up there in Sacramento. But we'll see if I can pull it off. If not, I'll definitely be at home watching it for sure.
All right. Either way, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Mac. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
Everybody, take care, man.